This mulled spice syrup from William Fox is absolutely amazing. It's perfect for this time of year, sort of autumn and winter. There's so many things you could do with it. You could add it to your favourite red wine to make like a really easy mulled wine. And yeah, I am that type. I don't drink that much red wine, so I've only got a little bottle. But a little dash of that in your favourite red wine, heat it up and you've got an easy mulled wine. You've got apple juice. You can mix it with apple juice or your favourite cider, and you've got kind of like a mulled cider, mulled apple juice. That would be absolutely perfect. You could add it to your favourite ginger beer, so like a rum and ginger beer, or if you're like me, you can make kind of like an apple dark and stormy. So I've got a bit of spiced rum in there, a bit of a ginger beer, a bit of apple juice and a lime and a bit of Angostura bitters. It is a phenomenal kind of sort of mulled, spiced and stormy, if you like. And in fact, as with all kind of William Fox syrups, I've got a couple of recipes, a couple of bits of inspiration on the back for you. We've got mulled wine, which I've just said, but they've got put orange juice. So a bit of red wine, bit of mulled spice syrup, bit of orange juice, warm in a saucepan. Job is a good one. But the other cocktail I've got in the back here is a mulled Irish coffee. So we've got obviously Irish whiskey, coffee, and then a little bit of the syrup and some cream. But what if you want even more fun? So as per usual, I have got you covered. I'm going to give you 3 recipes, 3 awesome recipes you could try at home. You can make up in your pubs and bars and sell them. They will be awesome for that. So we've got a kind of a Cosmopolitan, a riff on a Cosmo with vodka. Sort of a mulled spice Cosmo, obviously. I'm going to be taking on the Bramble, a gin-based cocktail. So we're going to have gin, a mulled spiced Bramble variant there. But then also we're going to be attacking whiskey and the whiskey sour, a mulled spiced whiskey sour. I keep wanting to say mulled wine. So let's start off with that. This is the mulled spice whiskey sour. Very, very simple riff on that. We are simply swapping the sugar syrup, the normal sugar that you would use for this mulled spiced sugar. So ingredients wise, I've just mentioned it. We've got the sugar syrup. We've got Jack Daniel's, your favourite whiskey, your favourite bourbon, whatever you're going to use. Angostura bitters and lemon, and then obviously we don't use eggs on this channel. I don't like to use eggs in general. It is kind of this, the egg white does make the cocktail, but we use our Still About Magic foamers. So let's crack on, shake and cocktail this one. As it's in this order, we'll start for this. The sugar is always adjust to taste. Bearing in mind this is quite spicy, as in all those lovely sort of autumnal winter spice notes, your nutmeg, your cinnamon, your clove, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going for 15 ml. Then I'm going for my whiskey. As I've just said, whatever you're using, you could even go any of the Jack Daniel's flavoured whiskies, anything like that, that'd be perfect. 50 ml double bubble. Then I want some lemon juice. I've already got a lemon sort of here chopped in half. I want about 25 ml. I will measure this just for giggles. It might be about half a lemon. We shall see how much juice we get out. And that's given me close to, well, it's nearly 20 ml. So I'm just going to squeeze the other one. We just want another 5 ml. So we've got that 25 ml of lemon juice. Then I'm going for my Angostura bitters. As I always say, think of these as like salt and pepper in a kitchen. Bitters are just kind of your seasoning to your cocktail. I would say anything more than 3 dashes is very excessive. I think 3 dashes is going to be a lot for a lot of people. So I just go for 2 dashes. Then your final ingredient is your magic foamers. If you are going to use an egg, and these kind of are vital to the cocktail, of course they are, because they give it that luxurious, velvety, smooth kind of as it goes down. But they don't drastically alter the taste. It's the texture more than anything. And these won't alter the taste at all. So I always use an egg white replacement because I like to be vegan friendly. And, you know, if I did cocktail masterclasses, for instance, and I had pregnant hens, obviously they're not going to have the alcohol, but we can do mocktails, but they don't want egg whites and stuff like that. So this is a great, great product. And we just need 8 drops. Now we just need to dry shake. So we're going to, as you would do with an egg white, we're just going to emulsify that and create all the froth. Right, and that is ready to go. And it will, even with the egg white, it will create a bit of pressure. So just go careful that you have got your tins properly sort of connected. What's the word? Locked together, whatever you want to say. So make sure they are there. You will build the pressure up even more after we add some ice. So we're just going to fill our cocktail shaker up completely with ice. And then it's a hard, fast shake as normal for 10 to 12 seconds. Right, and when that is icy cold, it wants to be cold so you can't hold it anymore. Get rid of that. And then we are going to, I'm going to double strain this. I've said it a couple of times now, video. It doesn't really matter how you serve a sour. You can go in like a lovely little coupe glass. I've got another one here. This is the Ruffles Utopia glass, Ruffles of vintage, 5.5 ounce coupe. Or you could go rocks at glass. So you could do a shake and dump into a rocks glass. Well, I kind of like sours. I kind of like double strain them because they do kind of look cool. But if you want to be all kind of, I don't know, if you want to serve it up in a rocks glass, then go for it. But I'd like this. There we go. I just think they look all cool. They look nice in like a little nice coupe or something like that. And then to garnish, obviously, it's orange. Orange is kind of the go-to thing with a sour. I've just got a little wedge there. And there we go. It's a mulled spice whiskey sour. And that is so, so good. I love whiskey sours anyway. I love rum sours. But whiskey sours are really good. You need the bitters. You can see what the kind of egg white or the foamers do. They just give it that luxurious feel. But the mulled spice, the cinnamon, the allspice, nutmeg, cloves, all those kind of flavours work really well with the whiskey. That is a cracking kind of autumnal winter cocktail. Now for your second cocktail, I'm going to riff up a Bramble, which is a gin-based cocktail. Very, very simple ingredients. 4 ingredients. That's all a Bramble traditionally is. Traditionally, sugar syrup, gin, kind of Chambord, creme de mure, traditionally a blackberry liqueur. And as I always say, Chambord is a black raspberry, kind of different, but it'll work and you get it in most supermarkets. And then some lemon juice. Obviously, we are going to swap out our sugar syrup for our mulled spice syrup. So we've got a kind of mulled spiced Bramble going on. But I just wanted to have a quick think about the gin as well, because you could go flavoured gin. And the one that kind of springs to my mind, and I wish I'd kind of got some here to do it, would be rhubarb. Rhubarb and ginger. I think rhubarb and kind of like the mulled sort of spice way would be awesome. But the other kind of riff, I'm not going to do it, I'm just going to do proper. But the other kind of riff might be quince as well, because quince is kind of like an apple and pear, and I've got a funny feeling. In fact, let's do it. I've got a funny feeling that this is going to be phenomenal. So another shaken cocktail, as I said, very, very easy, very, very similar to the kind of what we've just done in the sour, to be fair. So we're going for 15 ml, but if you want a little bit sweeter, bearing in mind it's going to be a bit more kind of spicier as well. But if you want a little bit sweeter, add a bit more. But I'm going for 15 ml. Then I'm going to do my lemon. I've just got them for decoration. I've got my lemons down here ready to go, all chopped. So I want about 25 ml. This big half, it might just be half a lemon. Look at that, so close. In fact, it's there to like 0.5 of a milliliter. There we go. So 25 ml of lemon juice. Now I'm going to go for my gin. I say, if you want to go plain gin, go plain gin. I just, you know, I kind of just thought about this as I was doing it. I think this is going to be cracking. Quince is like apple and pears. I think it's going to be a treat. But whatever gin, you could go plain gin. You could go flavoured gin. I still think rhubarb might be a good shout for this. But anyway, 50 ml double bubble of whatever gin you're using. And then the final ingredient is your Chambord. Now, traditionally, Chambord, if you were in a pub or bar, the creme de mure is kind of drizzled over the crushed ice to make it look pretty, and it all kind of bleeds through. However, I'm going to add it. This is faff-free. I'm going to add it and shake it down because there's no reason why I can't. You're going to mix it all in together at the end anyway, aren't you? You're going to give it a straw and stir it out. So I think add this in now. 15 ml, half an ounce of Chambord. What all that's left to do is ice this up and then shake this down. So a hard and fast shake for 10 to 12 seconds. And again, when that's so cold that you can't hold it, it's proper chilled down. We are going to just strain this into a rocks. I think they have to go into rocks glasses. You could do a martini, a coupe glass, sir, if you want. But I love how this is finished. So I'm just going to single strain this into a glass. And then the finishing touches, I think brambles have to be like that, is crushed ice. You can just do a shake and dump, of course you can. But I love how the bramble kind of looks. So crushed ice. Now, I won't lie, I am very, very upset with myself because it's only at this point I've just realised that I've got some blackberries and I've left them at home in the bottom of my fridge. So you would traditionally garnish that with a blackberry, and of course that's going to work very, very well. So forgive me, I'm really sorry, but garnish-wise, I'm just going to garnish up with a wedge of lemon. That is so amazingly good. I cannot stress enough. That was a massive shout, absolutely massive. I would love to try this with rhubarb, I really, really would. But that kind of like a quince mulled spice bramble, that is exceptional. I absolutely love that. Now for your third and final cocktail, I'm going to take on the Cosmopolitan, a very famous vodka cocktail. It kind of gets rolled out quite a lot in bars. It's a good money maker. It's not the most popular cocktail. It's not actually, people end up wanting a bit more cranberry juice in it. It's kind of there. Traditionally, there's not much cranberry juice in it. The cranberry's there to turn it pink, not red. So if it's made properly, a lot of people don't like it. But if you add a bit more juice to it, it kind of does become a favourite. Now, with me, I like to riff things up and give you kind of different flavours of what we can do. Now, so for this, I'm doing the Cosmopolitan. Obviously, there's no sugar syrup traditionally in the Cosmopolitan, so I am adding a bit more. I'm obviously adding the mulled spiced syrup there. I've got plain vodka. I was thinking you could go raspberry vodka, you could go blood orange vodka, Whitley, JJ Whitley's, all those flavours. I'm just going to go plain because I've already got one riff in here. Well, two riffs actually. So because I've got sugar, I'm going to add a little bit more lemon juice to it. I've got my Cointreau, and then instead of cranberry juice or cranberry and raspberry juice, why not swap it out for some pomegranate juice? And I will also add in one more riff as well, because I've made no secret that I don't like lifeless kind of martini coupe serves with there's no kind of head on it, no white froth in it. So I'm actually just going to use some foamers. You don't have to. This is not part of the cocktail in the same way that it's part of the sour. This is purely for me and purely because I think it looks better this way. So I'm going to add a bit of foamers. So again, shaken cocktail. Let's start off as it's in this order. We've got the mulled spice syrup. Again, I'm just purely going for 15 ml. And then I think as the ratios have worked brilliantly up until then, we've got a little bit of sweetness coming as well from the pomegranate juice. I'm going to try kind of stick to the whole 25 ml of lemon juice. I was going to go 15, but I think I'm going to try it with 25 ml. So keeping the same ratios as what we've got there. So 25 ml of lemon juice. Here we go, that is perfect. So just one shot. Now we're going for our vodka. So I'm going for a 50 ml double bubble of plain vodka, but feel free to riff about with different flavoured vodkas as well. Then we are going for our orange liqueur, Cointreau, Grand Marnier. My channel, I use a brand called Fortunella, which is Kumquat, Mandarin Napoleon, dry, Pierre Ferrand dry orange curacao, whatever you got. Cointreau and Grand Marnier will be your easiest to get if you're at home because they're in most supermarkets. So 15 ml, 1.5. Then the final ingredient is old pomegranate juice. I'll be honest, I was going to get a brand, but we couldn't get it this week. So I've just got Tesco's own pomegranate juice. I've never had it before. I couldn't tell you what it tastes like, how good it is. I'm hoping it's deep red in colour. But we're going for 50 ml double bubble of pomegranate juice. And that was perfect, nice, deep red. We like that, that's what we want. So all we need to do now is just ice down and give it a good old shake. Now I've got a bit of a false start there because I completely forgot about my foamers, didn't I? I completely forgot. So I'm just gonna add the foamers in now. So we're gonna do 8 drops of foamers. That'll be all right if you shake them down with ice. Of course it'll work the same. So 8 drops. Now we're going to shake it back down again. Right, I'll tell you, it's cold. It's cold, it's cold, it's cold. Right, I'm going to serve this up. And I've rolled this out in the last couple of weeks. I love this glass. This is proper I don't know where my, I sit at home, I think. I've got like the rocks glass with the gold rim around it. It is proper stunning. Love this. Good old Utopia. Right, double strain. See, and that's what I mean. I know it's kind of looking all creamy and frothy and all that in a moment, but that will settle in a couple of minutes. By the time, if you'd served it up to a customer or all that, by the time you kind of served it, that would, it's even started to go now, you'll have a very distinct kind of red layer to it and then a white froth. And I think it looks a bit better. That's my personal opinion. Hey, who knows? If you don't want to use it, don't use it. Right, then to garnish, I just realised I haven't got a peeler in here to get like a proper sort of bit of orange peel on it. So I've just had to quickly kind of wedge and do that. So excuse the too much white. A little bit of white on the back's not bad. You don't want that much though, in an ideal world. If you want to express the oils, I can't now because I've done it because I've cut a little slit. But then just to garnish, I'm just going to literally do that. And that looks so good. It was a shame to drink it. But can you see what I mean? It's kind of really separated. It looks really, really good. But even better, it tastes amazing. That with the pomegranate, all right, you're not going to taste the vodka. You might taste it if you use the raspberry vodka. You might taste a bit of raspberry notes in there. But it's just essentially like a pomegranate, a spiced pomegranate version of a Cosmo. And it is stunning. I love all three of these. So then guys, as always, in the comments, let me know what you think of the cocktails. But also let me know what other kind of cocktails you come up with. But even better, what I love doing, you kind of know me by now, I love taking famous cocktails and riffing them up with the different flavours. So what famous cocktails would you take and kind of riff up using that instead of normal sugar syrup? Let me know in the comments below. That's been me. I'll see you in the next video.